way back to the back of the arena. Hundreds of people are in line and have been in line since the chow line opened about 30 minutes ago, and this will probably go on for a couple of hours. Tonight the meal is barbecue and baked beans, and for the first time they have soda available instead of just water. The Red Cross bought this food, and the local Southern Baptist churches cooked it, and then the Red Cross volunteers are distributing it. They made the announcement about an hour ago that there's plenty of food for everyone. They want to make sure that everyone gets a hot meal tonight. Besides meal times, people here just try to pass the time, and today they had movie time for the kids. It was upstairs here at the River Center. They were showing the movie The Incredibles. The Red Cross is asking for donations from anybody for kid-friendly DVDs so they can continue to show these movies. But there is a lot of worry here. Worry about loved ones who are missing, worried about what's happening in New Orleans, and worrying about where they go from here. One man came up to me and said he needs a shower, he needs a job, he needs a check, he needs a home, but he doesn't really know how to proceed because he doesn't know the condition of his house and his belongings back home. Shep?
Molly Henneberg live in the state capitol, Baton Rouge, home of the LSU Fighting Tigers. The athletic department for LSU now says that the team there, the football team, may not have a home game until the month of November. Rivalries put aside, so much hurting in the state of Louisiana, and all our best to them. More Navy ships heading to the Gulf Coast to help out with relief efforts. The Pentagon says the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman is on the way. It's set to serve as a floating command center for relief operations. A spokesman at the Pentagon says the United States is now looking at ways to bring home from war zones service members whose families suffered so desperately in the hurricane and really need their help. Well, people across the nation are opening their hearts and in many cases their homes to Katrina refugees. One Georgia woman says she's got the place and people need it, so she's offering a spare bedroom as a temporary shelter. They're doing it across the nation. We've seen it on websites. Many are trying to get the word out to websites like Craigslist.org. But of course, many victims don't have internet access. A Federal Emergency Management Agency spokesman applauds the effort, saying there are a lot of great Americans out there. Well, the Motor City says there are as many as 3,000 vacant hotel rooms there for Katrina victims. The Detroit mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, inviting displaced residents of Louisiana and Mississippi to take shelter in his city. He says Detroit is ready to fly them in and also open up its classrooms to the kids.
I've been hearing them called refugees on the television, and it sickens me. These are our citizens, these are our brothers and sisters, and Detroit will always be ready to stand up and help.
Well, the state of Michigan is also in the process of sending more than 450 National Guard troops right here to the disaster area. Well, as the days progress, the rural areas of the shattered Gulf Coast are becoming more accessible. The power and the scope of Katrina's destructive force is beginning to be fully understood now, and the despair is setting in.
It sounded like it was the end of the world, man. Just everything would explode.
The life we know is no more.
I mean, I pay my bills and everything, and now it's like I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going to go from here. I don't know what's going to happen to me and my family.
This is amazing. This is America. I just, you hear about this in foreign countries, not here.
Are y'all going to save people?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
They got a lady with a newborn baby on top of Dunbar Elementary School.
And there's another old man, he's 87 years old, he's stuck in his house, man.
Show me down, just relax.
There you go, you got it with you?
Show me down, just relax.
There you go, you got it with you?
Vanny, my little boy, he's 12. My daughter, she's 8. And my other daughter, she's 3. And I just want to hear from them.
This is my dad's job.
It's unbelievable. I mean, everybody Didn't believe this was going to happen. We have nothing. Nothing.
Well, the world reacting to America's disaster all around the planet. The French President Jacques Chirac and the German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder sending messages of sympathy today to President Bush and the people of the nation. Canada's Red Cross assembling workers, and Venezuela, frequent critic of the Bush administration, also offering aid today. Pope Benedict II saying that he's praying for the victims, while China's leader says he believes Americans will, quote, rebuild their beautiful homeland. Saudi Arabia sending word that it's ready to increase crude oil production to replace market shortages. But not all responses have been positive. Islamic extremists are said to be rejoicing. Some internet chatter says the hurricane is part of the global war against the United States. Well, we'll have continuing coverage of the devastation along the Gulf Coast, live from New Orleans in just a few minutes. But first, more of the other headlines of the day, and Uma Pemaraju live in New York. Uma.
Shepard, thank you. In the Middle East today, Palestinians agreed